Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. So today I'm back with another weekly recap. Now this week was pretty light on actual content updates, but we had a bunch of information related to the crab subjects, is what I'm going to call it. Stuff like hiding poll results, player support, people not getting their prizes. A lot of these questions, well, Jagex gave an answer. Whether it's a very clear answer is up to interpretation. So we're going to be going over that, as well as there was a few changes to Deadman mode in the quality of life update, which we'll go over quickly. And of course, anything else related to the community this week. Anyway, hope you enjoy and let's get started. So to begin with here, we had a poll blog on March 19th titled A Message to Our Community. This response was pretty well received. Despite the lack of any concrete information, it is nice to know that the team is listening, even if they don't really have any concrete answers right now. Okay, so the first main talking point from the last month or so, or really for quite a long time now, is the effectiveness of the player support as well as account security. Now, as part of the poll blog and the Q&A we had this week, they really want to have an actual conversation with the player support team where the players can be involved. So they might bring them onto the Q&A, but they're also going to be producing 3 poll blogs related to player support and account security over the next couple of months. So for things like Authenticator delay, password strength, and other things like that, there will be surveys as well as hopefully a poll blog on them to see what people think about it. It is really easy to get into the mindset, well, who doesn't want these things just because of Reddit? So I think it is good to still give it a due process, but I mean, come on, this has been something that people have wanted for a long time now. And while it is really nice to see these issues addressed, this isn't the first time, and there isn't really any other information in this, unfortunately. One interesting thing they were talking about is they wanted to deal with toxic behavior. Now, they're still not sure how they're defining that. They're not sure if it's like abusive language or if it's more people spamming in the Grand Exchange, which I think is more important. However, the way they said that, I don't really know if they're considering like spam bots to be a toxic behavior. Well, yes, it is toxic, but I think it's more cheating. I would consider toxic behavior to be something that doesn't actually break one of the integral game rules, but maybe breaking a community rule. Either way, I think we should deal with spam bots way before we deal with toxic language or abusive language. Another thing that they quickly mentioned was contest winners never receiving their prizes. This wasn't actually in the blog, as they said it doesn't impact a large amount of players, but they said it's still extremely embarrassing and they want to address it. They said the process in the past for giving out prizes was not managed well and there wasn't any accountability. The budget holder was in another department, but apparently that has all been rectified now. The budget that they need for the contest prizes will be right in the community department, I believe. So contest winners in the future should not face the same issues. Anyone else who is still waiting to receive their prize needs to email them and provide information. Another thing that they highlighted in the poll blog is fixing old content. And while I do see this mentioned pretty frequently, I don't think this is one of the main issues people wanted fixed as soon as some of these other things. I'd kind of consider account security and hiding poll results to be old content that needs fixing. So I guess in that way, yes, you should fix old content. I think they've been doing a decent job of reworking some old content. Quality of life update month is also quite nice. So it is good that they address this, but I still think this is probably a lower priority than fixing some of these other things, but that's just my opinion. Okay, the next thing they addressed here is bug fixes. If you're not aware, over the last few months, there's been quite a few bugs, and even over the last week, there was actually kind of another bug. I'll go over that in a little bit later. However, the fixes, they said that they have restructured their process to allow more testing time prior to release, so that's good. They've begun investing in better tooling software to help increase test coverage and prevent major issues. They've changed their process and, well, yada yada yada. Hopefully it won't happen in the future. Hopefully that does actually fix it, because these game-breaking bugs are kind of disruptive for most players. Okay, so the biggest thing people have been talking about for a long time is the polling system and if we can hide the poll results. So they did have an answer for this, but unfortunately extremely vague. So the first thing that they talked about was trying to increase the accessibility and the visibility of the polls. They go on to talk about the low voter turnout of 12% apparently in the last poll, and they go on to discuss a few different options, from adding a vote button right into the in-game login screen and a few other options. When directly asked about if they're going to hide poll results, they pretty much said that it is an option that they're considering, but they're also considering a few other options as well. One option is restricting votes based on the content, like PvP versus PvM, if the polls could be more of a means of suggestion. Not sure what that means. I don't think that's a good idea. And they also mentioned, again, making polls more accessible. So they didn't really answer the question. Now, I think this all kind of boils down to one issue that they are not really talking about, and that is that if poll results get hidden, I think they believe that the amount of polls that would actually pass would decrease, as more people wouldn't know exactly what is passing or failing at that moment and would vote more accurately on what they want. But I believe that could divide the vote even further, reducing the amount of content that comes into the game. And I honestly think that is the reason that they really don't want to hide it, and they're not actually addressing that in any of the actual publications that I see, because their point saying that the voter turnout is less than 12%. I think hiding the poll results would increase voter turnout probably, because I know a lot of the times I don't vote on quite a few of the polls because they're already passing by a ton or they're already failing by a lot. I don't think there's any way that hiding the poll results would decrease voter turnout, so I think it only could increase it. So that point is kind of void. The rest of the things aren't really addressing the questions at all. So anyway, they give their answer, but we're not really any better off on whether we're actually going to get the poll results hidden or not. So anyway, we talked about that poll blog for a while. Let's actually move on to the new content this week. Okay, so a pretty small update this week. We have Deadman Mode 2019, so if you're interested in that, the finals will be running from the 23rd of March to the 30th of March. And here is our very tiny quality of life change. There's been a graphical update to the Karamja gloves, so not all of them look different. That's nice. A Black Knight kill score is now tracked in the Wanted quest. Okay. You can now use a Blamish oil on a pearl fishing rod to allow it to be used for lava and infernal eel fishing. Oh, actually, a really big one at the bottom here, very small, I didn't realize. The chat box now preserves its open or closed state over logout. That is actually really nice, because switching worlds always brings up your chat box, which is actually quite annoying. So that actually is probably my favorite part of this update. Okay, so they go on to talk about the pure XP bug from about a month ago. If your account did receive unwanted experience as part of the February 21st update, you have one more chance to do it. You have to do it by March 22nd, which is tomorrow, so you should do it as quickly as possible. Old School RuneScape Mobile has actually been nominated for a EE Mobile Game of the Year award. So if you want to vote, you have to be a UK resident. If you do live there, go ahead and give Old School RuneScape Mobile a vote, and maybe we'll win. Okay, so that is it for content updates this week. Now let's move on to some community news, and we have a really awesome update. There was actually a Reddit post by the head administrator of the RuneScape Wiki. They're hoping to add in near precise drop rates for the monster pages. Now this would be populated by the Runelite drop log feature. So anyone who has the drop log feature active would be contributing indirectly to the actual drop rates on the wiki page. This would be an awesome functionality. I really hope they go forward with it, because as a lot of people have been discovering over the last couple months, especially those doing Snowflake Ironman content, the drop tables are not accurate for some monsters. So actually having a community-driven data source would be amazing for something like this. Speaking of Runelite, we received another Runelite update this week, 1.5.17. We now have an NPC aggression timer, so you can actually see how long the NPC has been aggressive for. My god, actually that is so useful. I never thought about that, but now I don't think I'd ever want to not have that feature. It also shows the range you have to walk out of until the actual creature will become aggressive again. Amazing. The combat level plugin now shows the level range of attackable players in the wilderness now, and there's now a chat filter plugin that allows you to define words and patterns to filter a block from the chat messages. With a handful of patterns, it's very easy to filter out the majority of the bot spam at the Grand Exchange. So thanks again for another awesome Runelite update. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, there was actually a minor bug this week, and it had to do with actually attempting to fix an old bug, while Jagex was attempting to reset the defense experience from the February 21st bug. Some accounts actually were not affected, were either reset to 1 defense, as you can see here, and there was another case of someone getting reset to 76 million defense, so a fat finger added in an extra 0 there. Not the hugest mistake, but still kind of funny. We also finally got the solution to Crack the Clue 2, solved by Terrorist 12. If I recall, this is much quicker than the previous years. Okay, and last up here we have an image for the new seed vault that is hopefully coming into the game pretty soon. Jagex Maz has been working on it for quite a while, so it looks like you could put any type of seed into the vault, and I'm not really sure where it would be accessible from yet. Apparently it's done development wise, they're just waiting for the QA team to look through it. Perhaps in around 3 to 4 weeks we'll be able to see the actual seed vault in game. This will definitely be an awesome way to save on bank space, because I know on my main account I am really running low on space. Anyway guys, that's pretty much it for the weekly recap. Again, not a ton of actual new content this week, but a lot of information on Jagex's plans for the future regarding some of these important issues. Yes, they were not clarified that much, and we have heard things like this before, but it is nice to know that at least Jagex is listening enough to address our concerns for now and hopefully in the next couple months we'll actually get some more specific information regarding some of these issues. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave the video a like, and I will see you next time.